also feel good when I'm in this kind of environment. I actually, being a lawyer in Philadelphia, you have to go in many types of environment, whether it's a boardroom, a courtroom, and you know the difference. When you're around real people, you know that. I'm happy to be involved in anything concerning Mumia. When I ran for district attorney in 1997, I let it be known clearly that Mumia was coming out of there had I been elected. And I had no shame or guilt saying it, because I know how this system operates. I've been practicing law in Philadelphia for 27 years. And I can tell you, there's no justice in this system. I used to believe there was not. Yeah, I went through the same kind of brainwashing that many of us go through. I thought, we have a process, you have the defense here, and you have the prosecution here, and the jury here, the judge here, and, they listen to all the evidence on both sides, and then they go back and deliberate. Well, that sounds good on paper, but the reality of it is that there is no fairness in the system. If you have money, you have a better opportunity. If you have political power, you may not even be brought to court. And if you stay in that system as a lawyer or another official in the system for long enough, and if it doesn't bother you, then you have a problem. You really do. That's why I try to stay out of the court system as much as I can. I've seen it all. Even in the political system, I know that had I done what was required and was traditional, I could have been DA in this town. But you got to be schizophrenic. Unfortunately, Seth Williams, the current DA, they say he made history, the first African-American DA in Philadelphia's history. But we all know that a week after he got the FOP endorsement, he made the promise that he would move for the execution of Mumia. And those two things are not coincidental. He sold his soul to the devil.
That's right, man.
In order to get where he is.
Leon. Say it again.
Unfortunately, that's what we're dealing with.
That's right.
So if you're dealing with a system like that, and you know it, then you should have no real problem. If you're an official, an officer of the court, a lawyer, saying to people, let Mumia out of there. Look at the system that he came up in. Around the time when Mumia was convicted, you couldn't get a jury with a black person on it. So there's no way in the world that anybody can tell me that he got a fair trial. And when you look at the police, corruption and violence and abuse in this town, this thing about somebody did something to the police, it's the police who did something to all of us. And it's about time we got justice for it.
That's right.
That's right, yeah.
I was around in 1985 when they dropped that bomb on the Moon House. I even was consulted by some of the Osage neighbors who were misinformed. And I told them then, don't let the police in here.
That's right.
The police has a vendetta against Moon, and once they get in here, all hell's gonna break loose. And I remember clearly members of this Osage Avenue community saying to me that they could not disappoint Ed Rendell, Lynn Abraham. And they had to sign these affidavits, which I advised them not to do. And I walked out that night. 2 days later, the bomb was dropped. And the whole place was burned down. I saw some of those same neighbors standing on the corner, and I saw the looks in their eyes. And they knew that they had done wrong. And now everybody else knows that they murdered 11 people, 4 children, and they knew those people were in that house. They knew the children were there. They did it anyway.
6 adults.
And they think they got away with it.
No.
But there's no statute of limitation for murder
That's right.
in Pennsylvania. No statute of limitation. And there is also in the Pennsylvania Constitution and the Pennsylvania law a check against political district attorneys that won't prosecute police officers. It's called a private criminal complaint. And any citizen in Pennsylvania can go right around the district attorney and bring a private criminal complaint. It's been on the books now for more than 150 years and seldom used. So that's what we did. Ramona and Pam asked Michael Cord and I to assist them in this, and we did. We brought 11 private criminal complaints to avenge the deaths of 11 innocent people here in this country. We knew that Seth Williams was going to disapprove the complaints. But under the law, you have to at first submit these complaints to the district attorney. That's what we did. And Seth Williams even came on the radio on 3 occasions and denied that his office ever received a complaint.
This is a liar.
Some people heard it in there.
I heard it last week.
And we were on the, Brother Rob and I, we were on the bus going to Harrisburg for Shirley Kitchen's Second Chance initiative. And I got called on the bus saying, Seth Williams is here on the radio saying, you never served his office with any complaint. When I got back home that day, it was in the mail, an answer, 4-page answer to our private criminal complaints from Seth Williams' top deputy, Brian Grady.
That he said he never got.
And
Lying.
as I said to
No good.
the host of that show the next day, what it showed me is that Seth Williams has a communication problem in his own office. If he's running around saying that he didn't get a complaint, and this letter, that was on April the 20th, this letter is written on April the 6th, that somebody is not communicating with somebody. But we understand
Or they
that.
just lying.
We got these complaints.
Don't wait for them to
When we meet with
because they don't want to be in charge. They don't tell them nothing.
organization on May the 12th, we're gonna, May 12th, yeah. We're gonna take the next step, is to file these complaints with the Court of Common Pleas. We have already gone through the step of submitting them first to the DA, and he's already done what we knew he was gonna do. Next step is to go to the Court of Common Pleas, and if they turn them down, the next step is to go to the Pennsylvania Superior Court. And if they turn them down, the next step is the Pennsylvania Supreme Court. And that's what we'll do. Win or lose, that we're not gonna let up on these folks. There's no statute of limitation in Pennsylvania, and there will be no limitation on our efforts to get justice for the innocent people murdered on May 13, 1985.
I'm getting out of here. Sure, I'm rolling.
Okay.
I'm also interested
Take care.
in the fact that there's a problem in our public school system here
Yes, sir,
in
brother.
Pennsylvania.
Yes, sir.
That they tell us on the one hand that